generation media, and this is my media. One gen media, walking the streets with a yes, yes. Of the UK, the courage of the UK. Pushing my cam to the limits. I'm standing right here in a crowd, or in London town. One gen media, walking the streets with a yes, yes. Keeping the faith in a crowded place. Gotta realize, all the MSM realize, no mics in faces. I'm standing right here, ready with questions. Give me your answers. One generation media, first generation of true media. Needed everywhere with my real life. No one feeding me lies. Talking points are nothing for a self-made journal. I'm your YouTube, you know it's pretty sick. Gotta realize, all the MSN realize, bringing you the news that the legacy refuse. One generation media, first generation of true media. Needed everywhere with my real lies. First person view, reporting of current affairs. I am one generation media, and this is my media. One gen media, walking the streets with a yes, yes. Holding a mic to the voiceless, shining a light on the silencers. Keeping our speech free in the UK. I am one generation media, and they use us as cogs in a wheel that they can't live without. Imagine if it all stopped spinning. Gotta find a way to unite, gotta keep up the fight. I am one.
Welcome everybody. Happy V.Eday for everyone. I'm having a nightmare start to the stream. There's somebody at the door and my son has got his earphones on. How are you, Lieutenant? Are you here? Is it working?
I'm here, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. What do you think of my V.Eday hat?
Right. I love it.
Got bells on it.
That's mint.
There we go.
Bells and whistles for our servicemen, our people, servicemen and women, I should say, everyone in the forces who need our attention, need us to work with them to help them protect us and keep us safe. Nice.
Yeah, I'd say welcome to everyone in the chat. I've noticed a few names already. CP, Lisa, how you doing? Paul Essex, Roman, and anyone else that I've forgotten. Greetings to all of you. Please hit that like button if you haven't done so already. Yeah, so we're basically doing this video because it's V.Eday. I'm not going to keep my camera on the whole time because I look like a melon. But yeah, we've got a couple of videos to play for you. So we're going to start straight away with the first one, which is the Royal Marine, just basically explaining the state of affairs. I haven't watched the video fully, so we're going to do a live reaction to this one and see what everyone thinks in the comments. Is that right with you, Lieutenant? Have you got that ready to play?
Yeah, that's fine by me. You just need to accept it down at the bottom there, and I'll make it full screen and start playing it.
There we go, everyone. So watch this,
nice
and then
one.
we'll discuss this afterwards.
Yeah, please pay attention to this guy and how he's behaving.
Talk to me about what's happened. Okay, I'm concerned about a particular issue where I work in the Royal Marines. I voiced that concern, and now I'm being treated like a terrorist and a criminal by our political establishment that is coming down on me and other people that are concerned about this issue like a ton of bricks. I made a survey about a particular issue that Marines are concerned about. That particular issue is that we believe that we have the high standards that we keep, and the high standards that we keep for a very important reason, which is to prevent Marines from being killed in dangerous situations when we go to war. And we've been told we will go to war very soon. We are concerned that those high standards are being dropped and selectively drop for political reasons with the bespoke intention of forcing women through Royal Marines training for a political victory lap. Now, everyone talks about this. Everyone in the Royal Marines is concerned about this, not because we wake up in the morning and want to say anything bad about the other gender, but because everybody knows implicitly in the Royal Marines, if you speak up about this issue, because of the political landscape and who's in political power at the minute, if you speak up about this issue, you will be silenced, as I have been silenced. Not only will you be silenced, but your career will be threatened. Your livelihood will be threatened. Your friends and your family will be threatened. And I'm not one to bow down to bullying tactics like that. And it hurts me to see that this issue, which is a very important issue, which if we don't deal with this issue could result in you turning on the news in a few years' time and seeing that Marines or civilians or other people have been injured or killed because standards were lowered for political reasons. So because of that, and because I'm not someone that bows down to bullying, I made a survey stating our concern. That survey exploded in the Royal Marines. Within 24 hours, I can tell you nearly 1,000 people had signed that survey. Now, why do I say within 24 hours? Because within 24 hours, it was deleted. That survey was taken down within 24 hours. I suspect the reason it was taken down is because people in the chain of command asked the people who ran that survey site to take it down. I was optimistic, especially since I saw that so many people so quickly within the Royal Marines had gotten on top of this issue and voiced their concern about this issue. So I was optimistic to see that potentially maybe the chain of command will take, like, that's at least a third of the corps, or maybe a third of the corps within a day that have voiced a concern about this issue. I thought maybe they would actually take us seriously. Like, I suspected they wouldn't, but after the amount of people that signed it, I was cautiously optimistic that they might take this seriously and look into it. But within no time, fear-mongering starts being pushed out, saying that it was Russian misinformation, saying essentially what is now a meme, in saying it was Russian bots. Well, I can tell you it wasn't a Russian bot. It was me. And the people that signed it were not Russian bots. They were Marines. Because I've spoken to hundreds of Marines now who have said that they believe in it and that they signed it because it's something they're concerned about. And at that point, I began to suspect that all they're going to try and do with this issue is not address the problem. Because people are afraid. People are afraid of the political establishment up and down the chain of command. Everyone is acting in fear because we have a Soviet Union-style politically corrupt system that will crush people like me. If you're not seen bowing down to the gods of diversity, then you will be crushed. And everyone knows that implicitly. So what came of that? Well, after that, it was silent for a while. Some people in the press got a hold of it. I didn't speak to the people that posted about it individually, but I'm aware that it got to Caroline Farrow, and where it got to, I want to say, FastJet Performance. And those are allies on this issue. Those people were brave enough to say something about this on this issue. And are clearly people that have an understanding of the political landscape in this nation. But even then, on those on those posts that I know got hundreds of thousands of views, you could see that there was misinformation online coming from our people, coming from the people that should be taking this seriously, essentially saying that this isn't a concern, it's not an issue, it's just bullying, it's targeting an individual. There were particular people that were saying these things, saying that we're targeting an individual, even though the petition and survey does not target an individual. And what the survey said, and we can link what the survey says, I suppose, but it's not only that we're concerned about this issue, but we're concerned that speaking out about this issue will result in blackmail and all these issues and all this political pressure and bullying. And that's exactly what you saw in response to these posts. People that should be taking this issue seriously, instead just bullying anyone into opposition, in their opposition, into silence. And after a couple of weeks, it sort of goes silent. But I knew after what had happened and how the way that they responded that what they were going to try and do is find the person that posted this survey, which was myself, as I've said before, and try and blackmail me and cajole me and dominate and silence me. And lo and behold, within a few weeks, there's some spook from the Ministry of Defense coming up to where I work, coming and giving a lecture to all our friends, talking about how brilliant he is and how hoofing he is, and you know how he's worked with this and how he's worked with that, and going through the survey and telling everyone in the room that they're wrong based on a data set of absolutely nothing, and saying that the person that posted this is a coward, etc. He's not only making these claims, but he's threatening people. He's threatening people's careers. He's threatening people and saying, you need to say about this, essentially saying, you know, it's going to be a criminal issue, making all these outlandish, fanciful claims to try and bully people into submission. Nobody did listen to this bloke and all his blackmailing tactics, despite him coming there and treating our soldiers like they were criminals and making them feel like they would go to jail if they didn't listen to what he said and didn't give up the person that did the survey. Nobody did that, because these are people with integrity that believe in what they said. These are people that aren't just willing to bow down to bully tactics. And this bloke comes in and sets an ultimatum. You've got 24 hours to tell us who did this. Otherwise, I'm going to come back in and I'm going to come in all guns blazing and I'm going to ruin your livelihoods and all that sort of stuff. So that transpires. And I don't respond to that. I don't respond well to threats. And I don't think it's right for somebody to come and treat patriots and members of our armed forces that are concerned about a very dangerous issue, to treat them like criminals. I don't think that's right. I think that person is a coward and should be ashamed of himself. I think people like that are cowards and should be ashamed of themselves. And I think in 20 years' time, we'll look back on those people and we'll be asking questions in official settings as to why they thought it was appropriate to do these things. They're on a full witch hunt. These people are on a full witch hunt at this point, and they're going to try and find me. And it became very clear to me that they're going to try and get to me through getting to my friends and things. I'd said to friends and things like, if they do threaten your livelihoods, then just give me up. I'm not concerned. Do you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, if they're going to tell you that you're going to get fired for not telling them who did this survey, I'd rather it was on me. And I got to the point where I decided, you know what, I'm tired of my friends having to be concerned about this. This is bigger than me. I'm going to take this head on. It was a very stressful time, to be honest, really stressful time. Because I'm trying to do my job, which I'm doing well, by the way, and I take pride in that. And I shouldn't have to be involved in these sorts of situations at all. But I went to my chain of command and I said to him, okay, there was a bloke that came in making all these threats and things, trying to find who did this survey. I was the one that did the survey. So if you're going to make threats towards anyone, make threats towards me. It then goes up the chain of command very quickly. Within 2 days, I'm being flown across the country to London, to the Ministry of Defense main building. And I'm being told that I'm going to go down there and I'm going to be essentially interrogated in the Ministry of Defense building. It's an intimidating place for somebody that's never been there. It's the highest level of chain of command that you can get to in the British Armed Forces. And they're doing this for a particular reason, because they're wanting to put on a show. They're wanting to get me down there, and they're wanting to threaten. They're wanting to make me know that they have all the power, they hold all the cards, and that they can do whatever they want. They can bring me to whatever location, do whatever they want to me. And that's fine. I'd rather it was me than other people. So we do that. We go down there, and I'm told that, yeah, I don't have the right to a lawyer. And I'm sitting there in this situation where I'm in a room with multiple men who are essentially interrogating me straight for 2 hours, treating me like a criminal, treating me like a criminal, and treating me like somebody who wasn't concerned about an issue, treating me like somebody who was just an issue to them, something to step over. And it became very clear to me very quickly that they said to me, you need to think about yourself in this instance. You need to think about your family in this instance. Now, what does that sound like to you? Because to me, that sounds like a threat. And they probably saw me thinking about that. I repeated what they said, think about your family, and I wrote it down as well. Now, what am I supposed to take from threats from that? Like, Is that you're going to throw me in jail? Is that you're going to attack me? Is that what are you going to do to me? Like, how do I know what power these people have? I don't trust these people. I can't even tell you what organization they work for specifically within the Ministry of Defense, some alphabet soup name. But they tell me that they deal with security leaks. And they essentially try and make what is a genuine issue look like it was just some uppity Marines that are, that are just being sexist, being evil, sort of sexist. And it's absurd, because we wrote that in the survey, that we were concerned that to be concerned about this issue, we'll be painted as sexists. And then that's exactly how they treated us, telling me that I should be concerned for my career, telling me that I should comply with them for the sake of myself and my family. This interview goes on. They ask all their warm-up questions. They tell me that they're going to ask me about other people, and that it's best to tell the truth in these situations. And they make it more or less clear that they already have access to all my personal data and information. I suspect these people can more or less just access all my personal devices and have ultimate control and access to all my information, based on the way that they're speaking, based on the way that they're talking to me. And the whole interview is attempting to paint me as some sort of person that I'm not. I'm not a person that's targeting an individual. I'm not a person that's rocking the boat unnecessarily. And I asked them explicitly. So thousands of Marines are concerned about this issue. I'm concerned about this issue. And I'm here representing these Marines right now. And that made me feel strong, to be honest, in that instance, because I had the backing. I have the backing of the vast majority of the Marine Corps. And I said, are you looking into our concerns at all? Are you at all concerned about what has been raised here? They said, absolutely not. Absolutely not concerned about that. And we're here to talk about you. And what does that tell you? Is that these are people that are acting out fear. These are people that are acting because they also fear the political establishment, or maybe they are maybe they don't fear the political establishment. Maybe they actually believe in what they're doing. Maybe they actually believe that it's okay to drag a sovereign citizen of this nation, a Marine and a patriot, into a room and strip them of their rights and treat them like a criminal because they're concerned about a particular issue. Treat me like somebody who has done some vast wrong. But the conclusion of what they were trying to do there was paint me as someone who is just naive and doesn't know what they're talking about. And I've raised an issue, and that issue, by raising an issue, you're helping Russia. And trying to make us look out like we're Russian bots. It's absurd. And then trying to make it look like we're targeting individuals when we're not. And telling us that by raising this incident and being concerned about this issue, that individuals who it could cause distress to individual females that are trying to pass out Royal Marines training. Telling me that this could cause stress to people that are trying to pass out Royal Marines training, while completely oblivious to the stress that it takes on an individual to be dragged down to the nation's to one of the most powerful buildings in the nation and treated like a criminal, and being told that other people will be stressful because of words that I said. Somehow I doubt very much that any individual females in Royal Marines training would ever incur treatment like this, the treatment that I'm having for being concerned about these issues. So where does it end? Well, they asked me about some political questions. And to put it this way, I'm a member of a political party. Now, I don't think it's their business or anyone's business to know what that is, but know that it isn't the main political party right now. It isn't the Labour Party. And my message to Conservatives, to people in Reform, or any of the other parties that are in opposition to our current government, is that you should be incredibly wary of these people, and incredibly wary of the people that should be looking out for us, and the people that should be protecting us are now using their powers to inflict political bullying on opponents of the current political establishment. And I asked them, they brought up politics, and I asked them, is that a problem? And they didn't look me in the eye at this point, which I thought was quite revealing. And they said, no, politics is your own thing. We wouldn't want to enter that world. And I knew for a fact that wasn't the case. I knew for a fact that they are just the people that don't deal with that. I knew for a fact that they've been told by some other organization that we'll deal with his political things. We'll deal with the fact that he's not willing to bow down to the power of the Labour Party. So that's where it left, the situation. And you know what? In that interview, they said that, oh yeah, we're aware that could be an issue, because if somebody doesn't pass a test at this part in training, it could go on to hurt them at another part in training, because if they've not qualified to get from one stage to another stage, they're going to hurt themselves. And I got emotional at this point, and I get emotional talking about this because it's bigger than that. It's way bigger than that. If somebody doesn't pass standards and are pushed through for political reasons, which is happening, I can tell you for a fact, because if it isn't happening, then you're telling me that every single Marine that I've spoken to is just a plain liar and is just making stuff up. And for a corps that bases a lot of its reputation on integrity, to tell me that the average Marine is just a liar is an absurd statement and a betrayal, quite frankly. And I got emotional. Okay, I am emotional because the stakes are higher. If someone passes out who doesn't meet the standard, that could end up with my friends being killed. And that's not something I'm willing to stand by and allow to happen. And to not blow the whistle on that, problem makes me culpable. I refuse to look back in a few years' time and think I could have done something to stop this from happening. Okay. So what happens after that? So I knew after that they weren't done. Because to be honest, before I went down for that interview, I said to myself, I'm prepared to deal with multiple years of them screwing with me and messing with me because of this. And I'm pretty sure that's what they're going to do. It's in their interest to mess with me and screw with me and make it be known, and make an example of people that stand out against the political establishment. Make it be known that you will be dragged through the dirt for multiple years. Even if they don't have anything on you, they'll make your life hell. And I knew that was what was going to happen. So I go on holiday. I come back from holiday. We're going through passport control. All is fine. And I can see there's 5 police officers. 2 of them are in suits. One of them a girl. She looks at me in the face, and I can tell that she's recognized me. And I knew exactly at that instance what was about to happen. And immediately, even though they've not checked anyone else's passports, they're checking my passport. And I'm thinking, okay, here's the next step in my political bullying for standing up against this issue, because I've clearly upset somebody in a position of power. And I want that person in a position of power to know that you're not going to wipe me out by these cheap little political bullying tactics. But it annoys me. Of course it annoys me. So well done. You've annoyed me. But annoying me and threatening my career is not going to stop me from standing up against an issue that is important to me and important to the Marines that I work with and the civilians we're trying to take care of. So I'm huffing. I'm not, I'm very polite to these people, and perhaps I shouldn't be. Perhaps I really shouldn't be polite. I think I should be less polite and cordial to these people, but I'll go over that in a second. But he says to me, "Oh, are you fed up? Are you pissed off?" I was like, "Well, I'm not pissed off. I'm a bit tired of this. I will continue to get tired of it, but I will keep going." There is no amount of political bullying that you can land on my desk that will stop me from being concerned about this issue or any other issue. So drag me into this room. This is a different instance. So I'm now being dragged in by Police Scotland. I ask them, am I being detained? They say, no, you're not being detained, but we're holding you here under the Terrorism Act. I'm just shaking my head at this instance. And I said, have I committed any acts of terrorism? Am I expected to commit any acts of terrorism? And they said, no, we have you here because you have views. And that was I don't even know if they meant to say that, because that's the truth. I think they're supposed to maybe not say the truth in that instance, but that's what they've clearly been asked to investigate. is my political views, which are none of their business. And as soon as they say that, I just say thought crime. And they're like, what? I'm like, this is thought crime. You're the thought police. This is thought crime. And they're saying, well, there's no illegal, it's not illegal to think things. And I just, well, it clearly is, because I'm here in a room and I'm being treated like a criminal and my rights are being taken away from me because I have opposing political views to the political establishment. They take my phone. And under the Schedule 7 Terrorism Act that they were holding me under, as part of a bullying tactic to try and silence me for standing up for a political issue, it isn't even a political issue, it's just a concern. They've taken my phone. I don't have my phone with me. Not only do I not have my phone, they took my phone. They said, you have to give us the code to this phone. So I had to give them the code to the phone. I said, legally, I have to give you the code to this phone. Yes. And we're going to ask you questions and you legally have to answer them. I said, I don't have the right to silence. You do not have the right to silence. And they're like, so we're here because of your views. And I make a point of saying to them, are you okay with doing this? You're okay with doing this. You're here to ask me not about something I've done or something I'm going to do, but about my thoughts. You're the police and you're here policing my thoughts. And they said, we don't make the legislation. And these are cowardly people. These are cowardly. If they're not cowardly, they're ignorant. And I don't think either is acceptable in this day and age, because there's enough out there. They continue asking me these questions, and it gets to, so what would you consider yourself politically? I answer what I consider myself to be politically, which is besides the point, because what I consider myself to be politically doesn't involve anything that would come even remotely under the Terrorism Act. So I'm not going to talk about, I'm not going to give them the satisfaction of having to speak about my private political beliefs, because they've got no right to it and neither does the public. But in this particular interview, I have to tell them, so I do tell them. But yeah, I answer their questions. I'm truthful. I was truthful in both of these interrogation situations. But yeah, they've confiscated my personal property. They ask me more of these questions, then after a while they tell me I'm being detained and I do have a right to a lawyer, but this is like 9 o'clock in the evening. They're making it clear they want to get out of there. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, they've surprised me with this instance. So I was like, oh, I would definitely like a lawyer, because this is absurd. You've already told me I'm not allowed a lawyer. Now I am. And so we can get you a lawyer, but we'd have to wait. And they're like, oh, basically implying we can't be arsed. And, and I'm in an instance where it's like, you've surprised me with this and you've shocked my wife, and my wife's in a state of shock, and she's, she doesn't know what's going on. She doesn't know where I am. She doesn't know what you're doing. And they're frightening my family because of this, because they're frightening and bullying me. And it's now having effects on my family, which is why I'm here speaking about this today, because I don't think that should happen to my family members. I don't think it should happen to me, but I'm here because I think this probably happens on a daily basis to people like me around this country who are dragged into rooms and treated like this, because these people think they have unlimited power and they think they have the right to do this sort of thing. So we finish up the interview. I get going. I've already told my wife to go home, so I try and get a taxi. No taxis. Call her from one of the landlines. Just explain to her everything's okay. Just put down the phone. And the bloke who had been listening, I'd explained the whole thing on the phone, and the bloke who'd been listening, was probably thinking like, oh, why is this bloke being held? And I was like, here, mate, you know when you hear about people getting arrested for tweets, which is the state of the nation that we live in, and so common of an occurrence that this person was like, yeah, like, and he was already like, clearly very receptive to what I was about to say. I was like, that's what's just happened to me. I was just dragged into an interrogation room, had my personal property taken from me, and my personal thoughts extracted from my head through coercion of law and physical violence, and the threat of physical violence. Not because of thoughts that I had, because clearly I've wronged someone in high up political places. And he was just like, it's ridiculous, isn't it? And that's what the people of this nation believe. This is ridiculous. And so I go home, get my things, and think about it for a couple of days, and come to the conclusion that the biggest card, or the highest card that these people have, is the fact that I have no public backing. They can just treat me however they want, because they know that I don't have any legal backing. I don't have any media backing. I don't have anybody in a position of power. I am the smallest, minute individual to them. I'm in the military. They can do what they want to me as far as they're concerned. And that's what's happening to me right now. And I just know that it's going to continue like that until I stand up for myself and I stand up for the lads. I stand up for the people that are concerned about this, because it's not just lads. It's everyone that's concerned about this issue. Not everyone, but the vast majority of people are concerned about this issue. And then furthermore, even people that aren't concerned about this issue don't think I should be treated like this for being concerned about this issue. So that drags us up to where we are now, and to this video, and to this interview. And to the Royal Marines that are watching this and are thinking to themselves, this is ridiculous. Like, how can one of us be treated like that, be treated like this? Pull your finger out. If this can happen to me, this can happen to you, and it can happen to your friends. It can happen to the next Marine that's passing through right now, and it can happen to anyone. It can happen to civilians that are concerned about this. And if you think, oh, I don't want to talk about this because of my career, I ask you, what's more important, your career or principles? And in a few years' time, if you don't stand up for this, if this is allowed to continue, and something dangerous or fatal happens, I ask you now to make a decision to be on the right side of this issue, to fight against that and stop that from happening, so that in a few years' time you don't turn the news on and see that one of your mates has been killed because politicians wanted to achieve a particular diversity quota within the Royal Marines for political reasons, to do a victory lap, post it on the BBC like they posted that BBC video the other week, doing a pre-victory lap, astroturfing, making it clear that they're gonna make this happen. They're gonna make female Royal Marines no matter the cost. We're not against the female Royal Marine necessarily. I'm not going to speak for everyone. But if you are going to make female Marines, they have to be made correctly. And they have to be meeting the same standards that everyone else is meeting. And to do that, we need to have a situation where people feel like they can say, I don't think that this person's being given a fair shot. I feel like this is nepotism, and I feel like they're being pushed forward. So to the Marines that are concerned about this, go into work, and the next day you're at work, and stand up for this issue, and pull up your chain of command on this issue and say you don't think it's right for Marines to be treated like this, and for you to feel like you have to lie on this issue and you have to keep your opinion silent. Tell them that you believe that. And for the people high up in the chain of command, I ask you to make an environment where people feel like they can speak about these sorts of things, because they don't. And that's not my fault. It's your fault. I have a responsibility to speak about that issue, and that's what I've done. You have a responsibility to take on what I have told you and act upon it responsibly. And I shouldn't have to remind you of that. And you shouldn't stand by while politicians and top brass try and silence people like me, because you're in a position of power and you're supposed to be championing the lads, not undermining them. To the people in the media, stand behind us. This is an important issue. Some things are bigger than, oh, this may not be politically correct. Some things are bigger than that. And to the politicians and the people that are inflicting this witch hunt on people like myself, which I'm sure happens every single day. I won't be even remotely unique in this instance. This will be happening every day in this police state that we're living in. I ask you to question yourself on whether you think your actions are really appropriate, whether you think that you're serving your people correctly, because you have a duty to this nation, to the people of this nation, to protect us. And when you feel that you're being used as a political tool to silence political opposition, question yourself and say, in 20 years' time, when the political establishment has completely changed, do I want to be the one sitting on the other end of the table, answering questions as to why I thought was appropriate to interrogate and go on a witch hunt of sovereign citizens of this nation for being concerned about legitimate issues? But if you're seeing this now and you're in the media, or you're a politician, or you're in the Royal Marines, please take this issue and run with it and champion the lads. You can either be a useful tool or be a hero. You can either be a contributor or a detractor. So individuals that I would ask, I know that JD Vance talked about this. JD Vance talked about exactly this issue at the NATO summit, I want to say, or maybe it was a European summit. JD Vance said that the enemies within are doing us more harm than the enemies without, or words to that effect. That has been very clear to me in the last few weeks. And as one Marine to another, I asked people like JD Vance to stand up for this issue. And the way he stood up for Marines in the US, our friends in the US Marine Corps, to stand up for the Royal Marines here on the other side of the pond, particularly to individuals like Tucker Carlson who are willing to stand up against these issues. Champions of free speech, Elon Musk, Asmongold. If you're somebody that says that you champion our people and you champion the rights of our people to speak up against this progressive nonsense that's destroying and rotting the nation and causing people like me and my family and my friends to be treated like criminals. If you are one of those people, whether it's Elon, Tucker, JD Vance, or any of those sorts of people, get in touch. Speak about this. Tweet about it. Make it an issue, because it is an issue. Make it an issue now before it becomes a death, before it becomes a tragedy. Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Excellent stuff. I say I don't want to detract away from the importance of what he was saying, so I'm going to get rid of the the picture.
Keep the hat on. It's lovely. Keep it on.
I think the V.Eday celebrations are going to come to an end because the topics we've got to discuss, are really, really important. But it's great reading the comments, especially from Roman in the chat, because I say it brought me back to some memories. So I remember when we took our shooting badges, etc., when we were in cadets, and I was so competitive back then, and I came first out of, everyone in cadets. So there was only 4 of us that got the marksmanship badge. There was me, somebody else from my squad, and then 2 other cadets. And because we finished so high, they had like a squad battle at the end between the 4 cadets squads. And obviously whoever won the squad battle was going to, claim victory over everyone. And we didn't win. We came second in that. But I just remember I was so competitive because I think there was about 4 of us at the time in each squad. And I say we got to the final target, and we only had 1 bullet for each target, so everyone had to hit their target, if that made sense. And before we got to the last target, one of our lads didn't hit his target, so I quickly shot it just to move us forward, in the hope that it might have got us a victory. But we came second in the squad one in the end. But yeah, it brings back some great memories. I say this video though, it's great to bring it to everyone's attention, and you can see the DEI that's running through the armed forces at the moment. And
yes,
I think it's disgusting, and it's great that he's actually coming out and telling his story. Because the one thing I remember from being in the armed forces is you're conditioned to follow orders. That's the first thing. If anyone has actually served and done a lot of tours, when you come out of the military and go back into Civvy Street, which is civilization, the public, it's a massive change. Do you know what I mean? Because you're conditioned every day to follow orders, to do what you're told from your superiors, etc., etc. And for him to be able to come out, that's the thing, and actually tell his story, I think it's it's really important. I mean, hopefully there'll be some more that follow on, but the repercussions that he might get, I don't know anymore what they might be. I say, do you have anything else to say on it, Lieutenant? So I say, it was your video, you brought it to my attention, this one initially. I didn't know. I say Roman says he's part of a political party at the moment, so I never knew that either. So in a way, it's good to have other spokesmen on the right side of politics.
Yeah, I mean, I watched it last week. It was Dave Atherton. He posted that on the 28th of April. I did drop the link in the chat. I'll drop it again so everyone can go and have a look. And, follow David Atherton, because he does not get some stick, but he's a proper truth bomber. So there's the link to that again. Give him some support. Sometimes, especially before Elon Musk, he was constantly getting banned, let alone shadow banned, right? So give him some support. He's always sharing stuff about the state of immigration and all of that. He's all about the truth. He's not about going at people just because of where they're from or anything. He's not about keeping himself and his country safe. He's a proper patriot. So check that one out. But I brought this to the attention because of when you consider, like, I found it very heart-wrenching because I thought this young lad will have balls of steel, right? The training that they go through in the Royal Marines, it's just, like, you kind of imagine it, right? Thank God it's secretive. But imagine what he's been through, right? He's a young lad, he's tough, he's closer to have been through that training than, say, 20 years down the line. But he'll be toughened, he'll be hardened, and he gets anxious. Like, not even 10 minutes. Well, it's around the 10 minutes mark that he first mentions his family. And I saw the anguish in him. Like, there was frustration, there was anger, there's frustration because he can't vent that anger in any other way but this. And he's going against the grain, I think, by speaking out like this, but he knows that it's crucial. So it's put him in right a flipping spot. Do you know what I mean? And I thought that it's important for us as civilians to see that and have an awareness of that, and how we really do need to start doing more to get this this turned around. Like, we can't just expect our servicemen and women to go through the ringer in their training, right? Because it's shit for them, but they come out top notch, right? And then they try to do their job and they've got all of this woke nonsense put on them. And we just sit there and go, well, they're tough, they can sort it out. Well, clearly they can't. They come after him and then they're going after his family. And, it's basically what you hear of people when they talk about gang stalking and stuff like that. Like, that's serious targeted individual stuff. It's sick. We need to, as a country, as civilians, do our bit to have a go at services, and the wokeness and how it's working in our capacity as civilians. We need to take up our cross, if you like personal responsibility. We have to start doing more. We can't just sit back and say, right, they'll sort it out, because obviously, it's been like a concrete march on our institutions, right? Socialism for like decades, and this is what it's coming to. And you saw the upset in him, a hardened Royal Marine. Imagine what that's doing to the rest of them. There'll be some where they're not that hardened, but imagine what it's doing to them with their performance in their job as well.
Yes, do you know what's happened to him now? So I've only literally followed him late last night. So this is the first I've really heard of David Atherton. Do you know more about him? I mean, what happened because of this? Has he left? Has he been kicked out? Where is he?
Well,
now?
David Atherton isn't the guy who we saw in the video. I don't know what's going on with the guy in the video, so I will try and find out about that. David Atherton is a political commentator, and I think he writes for publications. Check out his X page. I'll send you that in a DM as well. David Atherton's always trying to get the truth out on things that the mainstream media will hush down. They'll try and sweep under the rug, sort of thing.
Yeah, and I'll say it was David Atherton that I followed from that video. So I take it that's a video of another Marine that he's obviously bringing out to our attention.
Yeah.
Hasn't got a name.
Yeah, David Atherton isn't the Marine that we saw in the video. No, David Atherton got that video. Let me have a look. Oh, it doesn't say where from, but it says in the post, DEI has reached the elite Royal Marines. They are trying to lower standards so more women can join, which I disagree with women in the forces, to be honest with you, but we'll talk about that in a minute. The Marines are aghast. The man leading the dissent has been monstered and marginalised by woke officers and MOD who implied they'd be jailed. The survey was blamed on Russian bots. Oh, and then...
I mean, I wouldn't have thought the Marine would have got his name out there just for his own sort of safety from within the services. So you probably won't be able to find his name or anything, I'd imagine.
Yeah, he goes by @Plastic Scott, the Marine in the video. Let me get.
And I'll say I'm
I'll
not
see
trying to
if I can
find
get
out
that
his
to come.
information or give away his information. I just thought if he's like a whistleblower, if he's trying to give some sort of inside info, it's probably unlikely that we're gonna or anyone will find his real name. I'd imagine, unless they have facial recognition technology or something. But
So on this Plastic Scott X page, there's a post by Kevin O'Sullivan at TV Kev, and he says Royal Marine John Carr, double R, speaks out on my Talk TV, and it's that same Royal Marine. So he's called John Carr.
okay, I say we'll probably have to follow up on him then to see what's happened.
Yes,
with John Carr, because for somebody like I say to come away from the way you're trained, you're not supposed to do this to your own, as it were, when you're in the services. So for him to be able to come out and do it, I just wonder what might have happened to him now. But yeah, just picking up some messages in the chat, because there was an important one from Deborah early on, talking about trying to find that. I say because the next video we've got, it's actually on my channel already, but it kind of links us into it because it goes from the DUI that the Marine was talking about onto what's actually the plan from Starmer in the next few days. I say everyone in chat, if you can hit that like button for us and get it out there, please.
Absolutely, get it shared across social media. I've been sharing it while we were sitting watching that, listening to him. Bless him. Gosh. Yeah, I mean, he goes on to say be wary of the people pulling the strings, basically. And I noticed he around the 25 or 27 minutes mark, somewhere around there and onwards, he's saying that DEI is costing lives, which I think we all see that coming. But to hear it from someone who's in the thick of it there, in the Royal Marines, to say it, I think it's crucial. I think this needs to be spread around,
Yeah, no, it definitely does. I mean, it's just, I'm just trying to find that message. Sorry again, there's a few to go through.
That's okay.
Where was it? I don't know if Deborah wants to put it up again, but it was a way round something she said about the military not having to follow the government or something, which is going to be taken away from us very soon. This is why I wanted to highlight it. I did put it up on screen. Unless it's gone. But yeah, well, I can't find it now. But yeah, no, so that's the thing. I mean, usually you'd think that, our military are controlled by the royals, aren't they? Like Princess Anne, if you think about it, they're all the heads of the different military departments that we have, Air Force, Navy and Army. But it doesn't look like they've got even the say on where they send our troops or anything, does it? Because it seems to be relying at the moment with government. And as we know from the next video that we're going to show, that's going to be coming to an end very soon unless people get on and sign the petition that we put up in the comments on the video. Did you want to play that one now, Lieutenant?
Yeah, I'll just...
It might make it a bit more clearer for everyone. If you haven't seen it already, Starmer's going to sign our military over to the EU, which means we're going to lose control of them. We won't have any decision or say on where they're sent, who they fight against, where they're deployed, and the fact that they won't be here to defend our own country, which I think are the biggest issues.
So I need you to let that screen in again.
Yeah, thanks.
Is it in?
Yeah, I'm just going to kick the dog out because he's snoring away.
All right, we're in. So I'll just go ahead and play.
Yeah, go have a look at this, everyone, because it leads on to it.
Yeah, this guy, he talks a lot of sense, gives us some golden nuggets.
On May the 19th, our government is going to be signing our military over to the EU, which means we're going to be losing control of our sovereignty.
Anything that's decided behind the closed doors of the Cabinet Office that affects the security of this nation is treason. Once he does that, we've lost our sovereignty.
Here's Simon Bean, MBE, to explain what you can do to stop this from happening. Hi everyone, this is Simon Bean, MBE, Maverick, Connect. Just going to have a few words about Starmer giving our military away to the EU, which we can't put up with, as I've put in previous videos. But yeah, Simon, if you just want to tell everyone what you know and what you can tell us.
Well, what I know so far is for the last sort of 12, we had a Lisbon Treaty over there in Portugal. It's 2009, and that talked about a thing called EU military unification. It's sometimes referred to as Defence Union, it's sometimes referred to as PESCO or a European army. It's all pretty much the same thing, but it's not just an army, it's the whole of our defence forces, and it involves MI5, MI6, the Five Eyes intelligence gathering group, the police, the army, the Navy, and the Royal Air Force. So absolutely everything. Now, we've pushed against this for years. Myself and several other sort of people pushed against this. Strategic defence initiatives have pushed against it. Retired generals have pushed against it. Admirals of the fleet have pushed against it. It's 8 pillars. Goes from everything from sort of finance to research and development all the way through to sort of everyday support of one another, a bit like NATO in a way.
So at the moment, we're a part of NATO, aren't we?
Yeah.
Which means our military is governed by rules and decisions have to be made before our boys are sent to fight abroad or whatever. But now, with Starmer's plan, which I remind everyone is in 3 weeks' time, they're trying to pass this through government. He wants to hand over control of our military to the EU, which means we'll have no say on where they're sent, who they're fighting for, and everything else. Most of our military boys sign up to defend our country, not to go and fight in political wars, which is a problem in 3 weeks' time. Can you just stress how important it is that we get behind something to stop this happening if we can?
Ursula von der Leyen, who's the president of the EU, when she was, back in time a few years, when she was sort of the Secretary of State for Defence, if you like, within Germany, she was pushing for this EU Defence Union. The pushback was on. She ended up moving to the EU. She still wanted it. Mrs. May, Theresa May, remember her? She was going to sign us in to the final pillar, which is PESCO, which is Permanent Structured Cooperation between member states of the EU. We pushed back so much that she never signed it up. Keir Starmer now, on May the 19th of this year, wants to sign that last bit up. He's travelling to Lisbon to do it. The yearly national security conference. So once he does that, we've lost our sovereignty, we've lost our autonomy, and everything that's dear to us, our military, our police services, our security services,
our protection,
falls under Brussels.
Exactly.
Brussels dictate where we go, where we don't go. So if Germany suddenly decides to get together with France and they get together with somebody else in Europe and they say, let's go and help the Ukrainians out and fight Russia.
And we have no say in the matter.
We've got no say. All 27 member states of Europe go, plus us. So the result of Brexit doesn't make this go away, because this is on a separate treaty, the Lisbon Treaty of 2009. And he's going to sign that last bit. Anything that's decided behind the closed doors of the Cabinet Office that affects the security of this nation is treason. And it needs to be seen as such. And the fact that old Billy Tony Blair signed off some laws so that ministers and people in high up places couldn't be taken up for treason is neither here nor there. That rule needs to be revoked. It needs to be put back in that treason is still a thing.
Exactly. Scare them off.
And anybody that's involved in EU military unification and surrendering our security to Europe needs to be held to account.
Apparently, part of this deal is already giving our fishing rights, our fishing waters away for this military deal, which I don't agree with. And also, a lot of our soldiers now are leaving, aren't they? Because of what's happening. Because they're signed up to fight for our country. They're on tours. They're experienced soldiers. They're not just like people that have had it for 2 years, decided they don't fancy it, and they're leaving. These are like hardened military personnel of ours, and they're even seeing the problem that this is going to obviously cause for us down, future down the line.
Retention is piss poor, to put it bluntly.
Exactly.
People are leaving on their droves. The Army, Navy, and Air Force.
They're already under budgeted as well. The stuff.
It's all gone totally woke.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Nobody wants to do anything anymore. Nobody wants to tie a pair of boots to their feet and go running.
Well,
they want to
polish their boots like we used to.
Yeah, lounge about in their flip-flops or trainers, So, and they're not getting anybody to join because young people are bright nowadays, David. And they say, I ain't going in there just to get sent over there by Ursula von der Leyen in Brussels.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not joining at all. Whether that leads to a conscription type deal, like a lot of the European countries already have, who knows?
100,000 in hotels that we can send over straight away, do you know?
Yeah, just send them over and leave them.
Front line. Thanks a lot, Simon. Cheers for talking to us.
Thank
Wrong
you.
hand.
First person view, reporting on current affairs. I am what?
Yeah, you can end it now. Good stuff. Simon being brilliant. That's the thing. So I say, you listen to the Royal Marine there, the first-hand account of what he said. Follow that on with what Simon's saying now. Where does that leave us? Thanks to Deborah for putting that back up. Executive Order 13818. I might do a quick search on that. But can you elaborate on that a bit, Deborah? Because I'm sure if he sends our military over to EU control, surely that executive order is going to be washed away, isn't it? I think it's disgusting how they're sneaking all these things in through the back door. People don't really realise what's happening, and we're just going to lose, basically handing over our control to the EU. I also noticed that Deborah put up common law. I mean, there's lots of different levels of law in this country that aren't being adhered to, which are above, the parliamentary laws, common law, church law. There are a few others which we can get up, but I say the Executive Order 13818. I'd like to know a bit more about, because I don't really know much about that one. But as you can see from that video, those of you that haven't watched it, it's really, really imperative that you sign the petition that's in the comments below that video on my channel. There's only 14 days left.
So are you talking about the hold the UK referendum before joining any defence and security pact with the EU petition?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, in the comments.
Because I've got that open, so I'll post that again.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
I'll put it in the comments for you.
Worth your weight in gold. It's going to cost me a lot.
A lot of Battenberg, mate. A lot of Battenberg.
Well, I'm going to have to make two, aren't I? Yeah, definitely. I'll say, I think the only way we can push back at the moment is with these petitions. I mean, our government, as you know, are a majority. We've got no opposition that can stand up against any of these bloody laws that he's passing, etc. So these petitions are really the only way we can get our voices heard in Parliament, because our MPs aren't obviously standing up for it. You've just seen Reform have a clear sweep throughout all the councils. They've won so many seats. Have they mentioned this at all? I don't recall them mentioning it. Do you?
No, not once. I mean, we didn't get any notice that they were going to send 50 million over to the new leader, who until that point was a terrorist in Syria,
Yeah.
We don't get any warning. This is what we're doing. No. It's we've done this.
And that money was sent, was it literally a month, not even a month after we couldn't afford to heat our pensioners? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And that was much a less amount than what they sent to Syria. I think they also sent 30 million to Pakistan as well. Not to mention the airport that they're building over there. I mean, it all costs money. This is money that we could be using for our own, if you ask me.
We've got veterans that are on the streets. They're going through all kinds of anguish, so they look like someone that you don't want to interact with. They shouldn't be being treated like that. you know, and everything, all of our services are being compromised and exhausted to host, to facilitate, and to cover the cost of people who come to this country who do not have our best interests at heart, to say the very least, right?
Well, they're not contributors,
It's
that's
just,
for sure, are they? Really?
that's right, that's right. I mean, phew,
We were
they're not
told
just
that we
takers.
were,
I think they're worse than that. I do think they're hell bent on
we're
destroying us.
told,
But
yeah, but
anyway,
we're told that we're importing doctors and nurses and people with highly skilled, you know, training for our NHS service, and then everyone you see coming into the country seems to be languishing in hotels at the government's expense, which is 21 million a year. If you want the actual figures
well,
on that, was it billion?
here's the thing, right? That there was the Office of Budget and Responsibility, OBR. They're a government watchdog, and they released a report back in September, October, somewhere around there. I raised this in the Big Nose of London channel at the time. And they came out with a report, actual facts and figures, and it's stating that regardless of whether it's legal or illegal immigration, all immigration, out of all of it, at best 5% is beneficial to us. So at least 95% of all immigration is detrimental to us. And the bulk of them do end up in our healthcare system, right? And our public services. They make a beeline because the pension and all the rest of it, okay? Once you're in there, you're in, got your feet under the table sort of thing. And it turned out, I think it was 0.04% that are in the NHS are actually beneficial to us. The rest that are in there are detrimental to us. Now, that's not just like, oh, well, they're going to sell us a dodgy car. They're going to give us bad health, which leads to death, right? Longevity is being compromised for these people. So that's it's official, it's in facts and figures. And they're trying to silence us. This government is trying to silence us, censor us about having this conversation about immigration. Like we can't be doing this. It's literally killing us. That's it. It's hard evidence there.
Yeah, I say the country is on its back at the moment. I mean, we're not affording to be able to do anything. Look at the state of our roads, for example. We can't even fill potholes at the moment, let alone give money out to anyone that needs it.
And that adds to the costs of, like, because the damage that does to your car, your insurance, it compromises you, it exhausts you, and therefore it compromises your competency in driving. You know, it's exhausting everything. All of it has a knock-on effect.
It does. I say, I mean, there's other things that I've heard, whether you believe it or not, but all these roadworks that pop up around London, I don't know if you've experienced them, weekend train track closures, bus diversions. I mean, every time I want to try and get into London on time for Speaker's Corner, it never happens. I seem to be diverted all around the houses.
Yeah.
Train lines shut, you know, it's just extra stress on people, extra things to... It's just there to subdue you, really, if you think about it. The money, the rising prices of everything, now giving away our military, you know what I mean? That's going to leave us open to attack, really, if you think about it. If you haven't got a military to defend you, I mean, there's all this talk about civil war. A lot of people are, whether you call it scaremongering, whether you think it's going to happen or not, history has proved it's happened in the past, but there's a lot of talk at the moment, is there going to be civil war? Isn't there going to be civil war? If there is civil war and we haven't got our military here, and it comes from Brussels, they could even turn our own military against us if they wanted to, couldn't they? So we just lose.
I mean, ultimately, our military is loyal to us, the people of this land. Okay, that is set in stone. Whereas the police are loyal to the crown. So the crown, the police can harm us. The military can't. Okay, so thank goodness the military are better tooled up.
Yeah, but going back to the first video, what's he saying? He's saying the DEI is rife within the military. So how they brainwashed kids in education, which they have done for the last few years, along with all these silly laws and these silly things that they're bringing in, people getting put in prison for hate crimes, you know, rather than actual crimes, saying the wrong words. For
posting something on Twitter that they didn't want to hear or something. Yeah,
that's the thing. And I mean, we know it's infiltrated our churches, we know it's infiltrated our government, we know it's infiltrated our police. and now it's infiltrated the military. I mean, what have we got left, really, when you think about it? What have we got left? I'm just trying to catch up some comments.
As far as the laws, the rules are concerned, our military is still loyal to us. But yes, it is concerned, and that's why I did raise that, bring that video to your attention last week. I said, could this be a topic that you're interested in? And here we are, V.Eday. What a day to discuss it, to be honest with you, to raise people's awareness. We all have a duty. No matter which capacity it is, doesn't matter how small a thing it is that you can do within your capacity, do it to fight back against this, because that's our Royal Marines. He's doing this because he's crying out for help. Look at what they're doing to him.
That's the thing, and that's somebody that's like trained. That's what I told you, someone trained to take orders. You don't usually go against the grain, especially when you're high up as the Royal Marines. I mean, there's different levels, and that's one of the top levels. The DEI is just rife. I mean, it's causing us so many issues. I mean, the comment there, Sharia law incoming. I mean, let's hope not. But I mean, it was only today, if you watched the V.Eday celebrations, that you saw Nigel Farage on GB News, gloating about, which he can do, I suppose. He got a good result for reform. But yeah, gloating, But there's no talk about the important issues. This hasn't been brought up once, as far as I know, by anyone apart from Simon Bean. I've tried to release a few videos on it. I think Andre Walker, he might have done one video on it. Otherwise, I've not seen anything on it, and if this gets passed in through the back door, I mean, we haven't got much left, let's face it. I mean, our military, like Simon Bean said, are leaving in their droves. They're not signing people up because people don't want to fight, for someone else, for not their own country. So
they're being demoralised when you hear youth saying that they want to join the military. Like when the Big Nose of London was at Leicester Square one evening last year, towards the end of last year, there was a young lad who was talking to Ali Dawah saying he wants to join the army, and you've got Ali Dawah in his face telling him, oh, why? So you can go out and kill more Muslims? Trying to demonize this kid for wanting to do what's right by his people and his country.
Was that the one with...
That's happening all across the board.
16-year-old, wasn't it? Yeah, that one.
Yes, it's a 16-year-old boy. Ali Dawah abuses this 16-year-old boy. Thank God the Big Nose of London was there, because he was basically acting as his advocate, and helping him through the situation, because Ali Dawah would have run roughshod with that kid, He was coming from a good place. He wasn't doing anything nasty. He was just saying, we don't want Islam here, because we don't. It's sick.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can see the fact that the sort of patriotism in that kid, and he wanted to join the army for the right reasons. It wasn't to go and end Muslims or anything like Ali Dawah was saying. He wanted to go there to defend his country and to be proud of serving his country, which is what many people sign up for. I mean, I don't know, is Roman still in the comments? Roman was talking about his grandson as well, earlier on, being in the army cadets, etc. And he seemed to have the right attitude, you know what I mean? We all had the right attitude back then, but if DEI gets into the military and somehow manages to influence it the way that Royal Marine told us earlier on in the show, then where do we turn to? That's the thing. I mean, I say the military should, as we know, be commanded by the head of the Royals, the head of the different departments of the military. So why aren't they? This is the thing. I mean, there's something not right at the moment. The people aren't in the right sort of, I can't even think of the word at the moment, but for giving orders, we need to do something. The only way we can push back really is by signing these petitions and trying to get our voice heard. I mean, MPs are supposed to be the voice of the people. They're supposed to bring these things up in the Houses of Parliament and have them debated, then obviously have them voted on, and hopefully with enough opposition have them stopped. But nothing's working at the moment. All we can do is keep bringing out these videos. I just remembered what I was going to say, actually. That video with Simon Bean, for example, this is what I was saying about... Do you want to talk for a minute? Let me sort the dog out.
I was just going to say, I've posted the link to that Royal Marines YouTube page as well. He's got, I think, let me go back to that page. He's a gamer, but he's also got videos on there of him sharing his testimony. I think, yes, he's got the video of what we just watched on there. Let me get the link for you all, so you
Yeah,
can share that
just quickly while I remember,
yourselves.
because he put me off. Going into the DEI, it's the video, for example, that we put on YouTube. This is how I want to try and explain it. It's got maybe 800 views. I don't know what it's on now, but it's on about 800 views. In comparison, you look on other platforms with free speech. That video alone has got, I think, 12 to 13,000 views, tons of reposts, tons of comments, tons of signatures from the petition. Simon Bean then did his own video on the same subject. I think that's already gone up to about 60,000. Do you know what I mean? 60,000 views on a free speech platform. But then you look at YouTube, that, as we know, is owned by Google, controlled by Alphabet, probably run by the West. Hardly even reaches 1,000 views. Do you know what I mean? So you can see already how important issues like this are being, screened from people. So people don't actually realise the severity of what's going on. So this is the only way I can see that we can push back, is with these petitions at the moment, until hopefully, I guess, reforms start doing something about it, because they've got the majority now, haven't they, in the council seats. But I'll be interested to see if anything is said about this. I mean, we haven't got long left, I say. We've only literally got 2 weeks. To try and do something about it.
It's a bit. I think it's a bit of a gamble with reform. I mean, okay, people who voted Labour, wow, did they make a gamble? But I don't think reform are as good as they're cracked up to be. They might make some moves, but I can't help but think UK.
I think the majority of people voted on them this time because we wanted to prove a point to the government. You wanted to disrupt them in some sort of way. It's basically the people trying to speak back, isn't it? It's the only way they could have done it, I suppose, with something like this happening. But yeah, come 29, I mean, I say I know where I am in politics. I say I know where Roman is in politics. As far as everybody on the right of politics, we have to band together. I think it's the only way we're going to overcome this infiltration from the left. There's 16 parties on the right of politics. There's a lot of infighting. There's a lot of infiltrators trying to split the vote. So it's never going to be easy. I mean, I was watching GB News' coverage today of V.Eday, and it was just the things that Nigel Farage came out with. I mean, there was talks of a deal with UKIP, which Nick Tanconi pushed back straight away in a video about an hour ago. And then he tried to call out Tommy Robinson again as what was the word he used? Alt-right, so ALT right, to try and insinuate more far right, I guess, kind of vibes.
I mean, I don't even think they know the meaning of the words they use, right? When you look at far right and far left, first of all, when we're talking about the right, we're talking about conservatism. To conserve is not to destroy. It's the opposite, isn't it? It's to preserve, to conserve. All right. So it's to conserve life. The world has never seen a far right, a far conservative, an extremely conservative government anyway. Because if so, there would be a lot of peace, right? But we've seen a lot of far left, which is what communism, fascism, socialism are.
It wasn't in our lifetime. That's the thing. I think Andre Walker did a video about it, saying the Conservative Party, when they first came about, like you say, was to conserve what we had, which at the time was really good. But then somewhere during was it the Thatcher days or something around that time, it became Tory became the word, and I think Tory originates out of Ireland, which means something completely different to Conservative. It doesn't mean the same thing. And somewhere along the lines, it got blurred, and as you can see now, they're both one of the same, aren't they? They're called the Uni Party. So
absolutely, totally compromised. Yeah, infiltrated. It's been a slow march through our institutions, as the term goes, using socialism and communism, and anyone who argues with them, it's like, well, look at what the Nazis did. Look at this. Look at that. Okay, that that was bad, right? I'm not condoning anything that went down there. That was more than 52.5 million lives perished, okay? But we cannot just look at that and say, ooh, bad. We have to look at the whole picture. Communism, and we're still counting, is responsible for the death of more than 200 million.
Mhm.
So don't give me this far right is worse than far left. When in fact, fascism and communism and socialism are all of the left.
It's
Okay.
like it's just been flipped completely upside down. And
yeah, in the
opposite
50s,
way.
I think it was in the 50s. I think it was in the 50s that they changed the narrative on that. The elderly will tell you that. They'll put you straight. Talk to your grandma and your granddad. Do you know what I mean? They'll let you know.
Luckily, I had a good relationship with my grandparents, so yeah, they kind of, I was sent there every summer holidays, so I got quite a good, influx from them and what they thought and their views. But yeah, I mean, some people call it conspiracy theories, others want to call it whatever they want, but it's been happening since the 60s, probably before. But it all goes down to, I think, that loss of connection between parents and their children and being able to pass down things from your family, because we got into a society where we just dunked our kids in front of the TV, to watch cartoons and stuff. And in a way that I think the TV ended up bringing up our kids to a certain degree. Do you know what I mean? Because they always force them all Disney stuff that's come out, recently, etc., etc. And you look at the mainstream media now and what's on TV now and all the V.Eday involvement, etc., etc. And the one good thing I can say is sort of the 16 to 18-year-olds seem to be waking up. I mean, I've said it before, at the United Kingdom rallies, I've noticed a lot of them getting behind, say, Tommy Robinson and not falling for the kind of education that was put through the schools when my own son was at school. Do you know what I mean? I think was very much caught up in that. It's a massive problem. That's the thing. I mean, it's no easy task of what has to be done to sort of get this country back in the right direction, from my point of view. But we have to do something.
we all have a part to play in it as well, right? We all have a part to play. Community isn't a community without the people, so we all have to chip in. We all have to do something.
No, definitely. I don't know if anyone else in the chat has got anything they want to add to it.
There's been some great conversation in the live chat actually tonight. It was good to see all the different opinions and viewpoints. Like there'll be people from all over in there.
That's the thing. I mean, I'm sure at least half of the people in chat are going to either have served in the armed forces themselves, or at least know somebody that has. A parent, especially a grandparent, because obviously we had to live through the war. So I mean, you must have heard some stories coming down from things from time ago. I mean, there's lots of videos out there, that kind of remind you of what it was like. But the way people all had to pull together, and how our society did flourish, in the past it has flourished, but now it's not flourishing so much, and we really need to do more, to try and change that, is what I think.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go through the comments quickly.
Yeah, let's have a look through some of these comments. Roman 6 King says, this channel restores my sanity. Nice one.
Thank you, Roman. Cheers. I say we can talk about the V.Eday celebrations today. I mean, I was actually looking forward to them because, from earlier, I like tracking the planes and looking out for them. I was quite disappointed this year. Again, I think it happened last year as well, that the Spitfires didn't make it out. There's nothing like the rumble of a squadron of Spitfires coming across you. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
I heard the planes going over, but I was like busy with my live stream and stuff like that. So I didn't. I should have gone up on the roof to watch them because I'm not far from Buckingham Palace, so I would have seen them all if I'd bothered to get up there. But I didn't. I got up late, unfortunately, today, so everything was running behind.
I was really disappointed with GB News' coverage. I mean, I had it on GB News in the background, and when it got to the time for the planes, all they had was a camera pointing at the sky above Buckingham Palace. I didn't see one bloody plane. I had to turn over. So yeah, they were just focusing more on Nigel Farage today, I think. But he was questioned quite rigorously by a couple of them. I've seen a clip that's come out on X recently.
Yeah.
About that as well, but I didn't catch it live. But I say, I mean, it wasn't I think the aerial displays have been better in the past. I mean, I think there's a lot more respect for the Queen than there is for our current king. I don't know if you agree. If anyone agrees with that in chat.
Yes.
I had a lot.
I do agree. Just going off what I've seen people saying on social media and that. Yes, I do agree with that.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, I know some people in the chat don't see him as their king. I'm not gonna like put him down or anything because obviously he's going through cancer and etc. etc. But I don't think he's gonna have that much longer left. So I mean, there is hope for William when he takes over. Hopefully, there'll be some kind of change. Going back to how it was when we had the Queen, because she was so well respected. Look at the amount of people that used to turn out when she was still alive in comparison to, say, now. I notice it. I don't know if anyone else does. Do you want to have a little break? I'll do an advert and play the music video.
Yes, play the music. I need to top my water jug up.
No worries. I'll stick it on now.
I'll mute myself.
I am One Generation Media, and this is my media. One Gen Media, walking the streets with a yes, yes of the UK, the courage of the UK, pushing my cam to the limits. I'm standing right here in a crowd, or in London town. One Gen Media, walking the streets with a yes, yes. Keeping the faith in a crowded place. Gotta realize, all the MSM realize, no mics in faces. I'm standing right here, ready with questions. Give me your answers. One Generation Media, first generation of true media, needed everywhere with my real life. No one feeding me lines, talking points on nothing. For a self-made journal, I'm your YouTube, you know it's pretty sick. Gotta realize, all the MSM realize, bringing you the news that the legacy refuse. One Generation Media, first generation of true media, needed everywhere with my real eyes. First person view, reporting of current affairs. I am One Generation Media, and this is my media. One Gen Media, walking the streets with a yes, yes, holding a mic to the voiceless, shining a light on the silencers, keeping our speech free in the UK. I am One Generation Media, and they use us as cogs in a wheel that they can't live without. Imagine if it all stopped spinning, gotta find a way to unite, gotta keep up the fight. I am One Generation Media, and I am One Generation Media, and I am One Generation Media, and this is my media. Yeah, this is my media.
Yeah, just catching up on some of the comments in chat there. Welcome if you joined us late, Ferret, and who was the other one? Gary Warren. Welcome
One
to the channel.
Gen Media. I love that song.
I know, what was that last one I just saw? Deborah as a singer. One Generation holding the mic. Yeah, I'm gonna have to redo the video on that one. I think I've got to delete some of the pictures out of the end. Some people that aren't willing to unite the kingdom anymore.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Well,
Gosh.
yeah, it's up in the air at the moment, so we'll keep that one.
Dear me. Well, get rid of the bad ones
down
from
at
your
the minute.
video. Don't give them any coverage, any attention.
Well,
If
yeah,
they're against us, they're not welcome, basically.
I'm not really in a position to speak for going by their actions. Yeah. I might have to make a few updates to that. But yeah, the song's brilliant. I like the song. I just saw
Well,
that.
I mean,
Yeah.
the good book says it, but also it is true. You can see it yourself that you do know people by their fruit. You know what I mean? By what they do. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll say one of the sayings I was always brought up with was, what is it? A man is judged by his actions. I think that's quite a good one. So you can judge a man by his actions, or a woman. Judge anybody by their
Yes.
actions. Yeah. I saw RT in there. He said his granddad was in the Navy, I think it was.
Yeah, I saw that. How far up was that? Let me have a look.
Yeah, I've got it there in the Royal Navy, World War Two.
Granddad was Royal Navy, World War Two. Wow.
That's what I mean. I'm sure everyone's got a relative
A
or a
relative.
relative that's been in
Yeah.
one war or another trying to defend our country and save what we've got. But I say once again, if you joined us late and you haven't seen the videos, yeah, check out the video, the Simon Beam video, because we really need to get that petition. I mean, there's enough names on it now. I mean, I think I've done quite well. I mean, I got an extra 4,000 names on it in the last week. Which I think's put it up to enough for it to be raised, raised by the parliamentarians now. But I'm sure it needs to get to 100,000 for it to actually be brought up in a Prime Minister's questions.
Yeah, let me post a link to that again because think that when the chat moves up after so many messages, things drop off, don't they? So I'll put that in again for that petition you're on about. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it. It's very important, I think. But yeah, what did everyone else think of the V.Eday celebrations? Anyone in chat? Did you go to any street parties? Apparently there was loads of street parties going on today, but I didn't come across one. I had to have a party on my own, hence the hats.
What does Renton make of the hat? Does he try to get the bells or something?
Well, no, he's actually fine with it. But the thing with Renton is when they do the horns and the for the trumpets for the household cavalry and stuff, he always sings along to it. And I didn't hear it.
Wow.
That's the bit I didn't hear it today. And I say last year I went to the Beacon, my local Beacon lighting, which I'm going to do again for this V.Eday. I might even do it live. But try and picture the scene. So they've got a small brass band, and obviously they're playing the song. But then they came for the last march. They started to do that on the trumpet, and obviously everyone's silent. And then Renton starts, singing along to it. He always does, really loud, like howling like a wolf. And everyone was saying to me afterwards, "Oh, it was so nice to hear him doing that along with the trumpets." So I'm hoping he's going to do it on a live on Thursday. I'll try and get him to do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody in comments. Any street parties?
No, they're not on it. Oh, Ravioli says they were dancing around the maypole here. I remember doing that when I was a kid. I loved that.
Well, yeah, he's down in Somerset. They've got loads of maypoles down there still. I don't really see him up there. We used to do that in my primary school, and that's
yeah.
It's going to give my age away, but yeah, that was quite a long time ago. I think that was the last maypole that I tell a lie.
Oh, I know.
The Corby Pole
It was
Fair. If anyone's alive,
it was ages ago for me. I'm still 17 all these years later.
And I'll say the Corby Pole Fair. If anyone's still alive, to be able to make the next one, because it happens every 22 years. I went to the last one, and that was actually a great day out. So I do recommend it. Didn't expect it. I was working around there at the time and kind of got wind of it, but yeah, that was actually a really good event that was. And yeah, they had a maypole there, along with, was it Morris dancers? I don't know if you've ever seen Morris dancers.
One. I think I've only ever seen them on telly or something, but they're mint. I like the Scottish dancers and the Irish dancers as well. I think we need to see more of that on our streets, to be honest with you. Remind us of all our beautiful history,
That's the thing. I mean, Corby is a town which has come from Scotland. I mean, it goes back some time. I think a lot of miners were moved there from Scotland, so the town was originally built up by Scottish people. So they did have. I mean, it was called the Pole Fair, so they did have a pole like the Caber, in Scotland. but because of health
Yeah.
and safety and DEI, they weren't allowed.
Oh,
They weren't allowed to do it on this last one, which was a bit disappointing.
honestly, these health and safety mothers have really destroyed their own children. Like we've got allergies, the rates on allergies going through the roof because kids aren't going out and informing their gut to build up a strong immune system. So they're not playing out in the mud and they're not, getting sick to make themselves toughen up or anything like that. So they're ending up with allergies. And it's great business for big pharma, isn't it? But it's no
Well,
good for our health.
I remember about 10 years ago, an ex-girlfriend's granddad saying that when they brought out one of those new sprays, that killed, 99.9% of bacteria or something, those household sprays. And I'll never forget him saying it. He said, he goes, what are they bringing that out for? He goes, people will have no immune system in 10 years. And now look, 10
That's
years
right.
later. I mean, I know there's other things, other conspiracies that people say have added to it, but yeah. How is everyone?
Well, there is loads of things.
There's a lot of stories.
The thing is, this term conspiracy theory, right? It means there's a theory of a conspiracy, okay, which every investigation, no matter who conducts the investigation, is based on. So, what is wrong with considering or looking into a theory of conspiracy, meaning a conspiracy theory? If you really don't like conspiracy theories, when something happens to you, don't phone the police because you're asking them to investigate your theory or your allegation of a conspiracy against you when someone's committed a crime against you. Imagine if you phone them up and they say, oh, away with your conspiracy theories, dunk, put the phone down on you.
In a
So
way,
people really should be like thinking, hang on a second, maybe I shouldn't be demonizing something just because the words conspiracy theory are there.
But it kind of goes down to back to free speech, doesn't it? I mean, with all these platforms that were hiding things that they deemed to be a conspiracy theory, because they keep hiding it, so people can't discuss it and talk about it, it then gets called, I guess, a conspiracy theory. Kind of a bit like Islamophobia. I won't go into that on this stream, but it's another word that I think they've used to kind of, dilute us being able to have a good conversation and actually, talk things through. I mean, it goes down to feelings, doesn't it, and everything else, and people that take offence and this, that, and the other. But I mean, if you can't have a discussion with somebody, not get along, but still be able to talk about it, you might not have to agree, but without even being given the chance to talk about it, then it just gets labelled a conspiracy theory or a hate crime or whatever they want to palm it off as. Nothing's ever going to get sorted out.
It's all behavioral modification, and what comes of this is we're dumbed down because we're not allowed to talk about things, right? Because speech itself, now I'm talking, I'm expressing my thoughts. My thoughts aren't going to develop if I don't get to express them in order to receive feedback, whether it's just hearing myself in an empty room or talking to you or someone else and hearing your opinion, getting feedback on what I've said, me giving you feedback on what you've said. At some point from that exchange, we're going to learn something and we're going to gain more. That's all stunted. It's all blocked and cut off when you're not allowed to express your thoughts, which is what speech is. So,
I mean, I think I can be quite critical. I mean, I've got a lot of friends that are, say, DJs, for an example. It might be a bit off subject, but if you know anything about DJing properly, if you don't mix a tune in at the right time, you clang or you can hear that it's not in tune, it's not right. And I'd always be able to, to pull people up on that, and notice if it's happening. Some people will be, you're very critical, but I'm thinking if people don't criticise, then people aren't going to get better, because on the other hand, a lot of people like the fact that you can notice something like that where you can criticise and then they can maybe do something about it or make it better.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the same with my music. It's like it has to be perfect in my mind. And so I appreciate when you, Steve, or anyone else pops into my live chat and lets me know, not so keen on that bit, not so keen on that bit. And I was like, right, okay, I'll go back to the drawing board. I'll see what I can do. Some bits like I don't take on board because I think, well, no, it's meant to be like that. And I know that there'll be an audience out there who will get it. right? Some things like you're just not going to like, some things I'm just not going to like, and so on and so forth. But I always appreciate that feedback regardless, okay? Because if my ears are off, then I need to get them back on. And that's not going to happen if someone doesn't point it out. If I'm just sitting there thinking, oh, I'm amazing,
Yeah.
when I'm not, you know?
I say that's me. Sometimes you might not want to hurt people's feelings. I mean, women know this better than men, but I mean, how many times when you were younger did you go out with your friends and they might not look the best or something, but you say, yeah, you look great, because you don't want to hurt their feelings, and they end up going out looking dodgy or something. I always thought it was better to be honest. It's better to be cruel than to be kind, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I was raised, to be honest, and in my family, like the immediate family is predominantly women, but when you include the extended family, it's 50-50, male and female, and it's huge, actually. I've got a lot of relatives, and we're all very honest about each other, like to each other. We will put each other right.
Like Cilla Black then. I'm sure you just said Laura. I've got Laura.
Did I say Laura? The Laura laughs. We have a Laura laughs. We have a Laura face and all.
Very, very, what was her name? Yes, Cindy Black. But yeah, go on, carry on, sorry.
As families do. Yeah. I was just saying, like, we're all very honest with each other, you know. It's about expressing yourself respectfully, though. Like constructive criticism. I think that's what's important. Like, you can't just turn around and say, oh, you look like a bag of shit, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's not very nice. But you can point out where someone could do better. You've seen them looking better, and you want them to look their best so they have the best time, right? So it's coming from that place. So if you put it in a way that's constructive criticism, it's just a put down, then it's great.
Then I'd rather someone tell me about it than me walking around looking like an idiot all day. Do you know what I mean? Honesty is definitely the best policy.
Yeah.
Let's have a look again. Newcastle accent. There you go. Best by far.
Voice card. I'm from Zimbabwe. I keep telling them.
Nonsense. I've got Zimbabwe friends.
I'm using a voice card. You wouldn't know.
You haven't got the what's it called?
That Lisbon Treaty. That Lisbon Treaty. I'm going to have to look into that. What that beanie guy was saying. I really don't know that much about it, and people have talked about it in alternative media a lot, actually, over the past 10 years or so.
Yeah, what? So, sorry, what are you talking about? Beanie said about what?
The Lisbon Treaty. Oh, sorry, I thought you heard me.
Oh.
I don't know much about it, so I'm going to have to look into it.
Don't look into it, just sign the petition. Look into it after. Joking.
Sign the petition. Have I posted it? Oh, I did, but I'll post it again because the chat's moving off.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll say it. It's in the chat. I mean, it's under the video on my channel as well, so I pinned it at the top.
It is. While you've got people here, you never know who might be ninja watching as well.
What's ninja?
Not everyone
watching?
sits and. It means they're watching, but they're not interacting in your live chat.
Oh, that's all right.
Like ninjas. That's what ninjas do, isn't it?
Check out my funky hat. Yeah, going back to Ravioli, he asked where you can get a hat like this from. Wembley Stadium is where I got this from. Wembley Way. You can probably buy it online, I'd imagine. It's called a jester, a Great British jester.
Yeah.
It's got bells on it, makes a noise.
You're a court jester.
I would have worn it today if I could have got to London, but with all the closures, I wouldn't have made it on time. Yeah, so the petition's in the comments now, everybody, if you haven't had a look at it already.
Put that on screen. Yeah, I still think my hat's the best, though.
Well,
obviously.
I'll have to see it in real life to give it.
Well, you can see it. You can see it's on screen now. That's my hat.
Yeah, so where does that hat originate from? Because it comes across as German straight away when you look at it.
No. It's a British Lieutenant General's hat. Cap.
Well, you are Lieutenant, so it's quite fit.
A Lieutenant General. Lieutenant General. But everyone calls me Lieutenant, right? But the rank that I was given by the Big Nose of London in his channel was Lieutenant General. It is official.
Well, you're not on the Big Noses panel anymore, so you are Lieutenant.
I'm not, but I am Lieutenant. Everyone knows me by Lieutenant, but it's still Lieutenant General.
All right.
Don't you try to demote me. It's not your place to do that. You're not the Field Marshal.
I might have to. Yeah, I'm the Admiral now, so I might have to make you a deckhand or a station.
No,
marshal.
you're my Admiral. You're my Admiral. You're beneath me.
Admirals above Lieutenant in rankings.
Court Jester, actually, you're not even in there. You're not even. You didn't make it, man.
Today I'm a jester for V.Eday. Got my bells going.
I think it's a class hat, actually.
I don't get many chances to wear it, to be fair. So when these days come around, I have to get it.
Probably for the best.
Oh, that's the thing.
You could wear it at You could wear it at Christmas and put some baubles on it. Knock yourself out, literally.
I've got plenty of different hats. I've got one of those Australian ones with the corks. That's quite a good one for the summer. Yeah.
Oh, nice one. Yeah.
You might see that this year. Down speakers.
With your yellow shades on.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll dig those out again as well.
Yeah, they're cool, those glasses.
Yeah, I really should wear them more, actually, because it kind of was a look for me in the beginning, but I don't know, I changed them. I thought I looked a bit mental, actually, in some of the pictures.
No, you look good in them, actually. When that clip in your music video, you're out in the sun, it looks like you've got a bit of sun on your face, and you've got those yellow glasses on. That looks good. Doesn't look weird at all.
I'll say that, yeah, that was the Nottingham Carnival I wore them then. Yeah, I'll dig them out again. I'm sure they'll be making a reappearance quite soon.
Make it your thing.
Well, I did originally. I was going to, but yeah, I'll say they're okay. I mean, they're nice to wear, but when it's like blazing hot sunshine, I think they can be a bit too much. They're sort of more for low light conditions.
Right.
Make everything look like California. That's that kind of look to it.
Yeah, I got some of those blue blocks and I got the yellow ones, and they're good for your mood. They boost your mood because on a dull day, and if you've got anxiety, they're good for people with anxiety, which is one of the reasons why I got them. Wearing those, it makes yellow lenses. They're by a company that were called Blue Blocks, but they're now called Bon Charge. I got those, and they do actually boost your mood, on a dull day, walking around with them on. You can get them in a prescription as readers, or just like with no magnification in them at all. But they boost your mood, and they block blue lights and green lights.
I do think it makes your eyesight a bit better, because I mean, I had a pair of, going back some years now, I think they were Ralph Lauren brown tints, weren't they? But they look yellow. And like you say, it kind of cheers you up because things don't look so glum, especially in this country, when it's cloudy all the time. But
it has that impact on your psyche.
Yeah, I say using that yellow glass anyway, definitely I think improves my eyesight. Everything just becomes a bit clearer, like a bit more kind of, I don't know, 3D or something, if you want to call it that. But you can definitely see things a bit easier through them. Must be something. I mean, they're going to be dimming our sunlight soon, aren't they? So,
well, Gates is trying to. Whether they're going to get that far or not is another matter. Let's not say it's going to happen.
I think they've already signed. They signed it a couple of days ago in this country. They've offered money.
That doesn't mean it's going to happen. Let's until it's happening, we can't say it's going to happen. We have to, keep on just trying to fight that.
Do you not think that it's because people are kind of waking up to the idea of, plane trails, vapor trails, and this, that, and the other that they've been blasting all over us, and now they want to kind of twist it again to make out that it's going to be for the environment? Because a lot of people have been talking about these vapor trails, haven't they, out of planes and stuff like that. If you look up at the sky, sometimes there are differences.
Oh, like the chemtrails, yeah. I mean. Yeah, well, they're bringing this in as if they haven't been doing it. Of course, they've been doing it anyway.
That's what I mean. It's the same as like making everyone drive at 50 miles an hour around cities on a motorway for clean air. I mean, it's not going to give clean air by slowing cars down so they all bunch up and produce the same amount of fumes. It just, I say, all this DEI, net zero. I mean, it's ludicrous, really. I did see something actually earlier. Nigel Farage has told everyone that works in the councils that they now run if they support DUI or something, to look for another job, which I thought was a good statement. Whether or not it's true or not, we'll have to keep our ears open. But I know that
Yeah.
Nick Tinconi and UKIP are pushing for that as well, to get rid of net zero and all the waste of money that goes along with it. So hopefully they'll pull in the right direction, and we'll see some change, hopefully quite soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're coming to the end of our chat. Really, to be fair, we're running out of things to talk about. We've covered the important subjects. Do you fancy? Does anyone want to see the videos again, or any of the videos? Just put anything in chat.
I mean, I'm more than happy to screen share. Can we actually go through that lad's testimony again, like that Royal Marines? I've got it here on his YouTube channel. Although it's 32 minutes. What do you think, Dave? It's your call. Have you got that long? It's 11 o'clock. But I just think, it's so important.
To like break it down, you mean, and discuss it. We can do, unless everyone. What does everyone in the chat think? If they're all going to run off and leave, then I'll say no. But,
yeah, it's 11 o'clock at
to,
night. I think everyone in there is in the UK, aren't they? So they might not want to. Or if we want to go through what Beanie said.
Well, yes, Simon Beans is quite self-explanatory. The only thing I wanted to add to it was about the whole fishing rights. I mean, they're given away already as part of the deal, the fishing rights, and that was one of the Brexit reasons for having Brexit, wasn't it? To keep our own fishing rights. I mean, they're only going to fish our fish and then sell them back to us anyway. So again, it's another bloody money maker for the EU. John's off to bed. He's saying cheers. I think Roman needs to go home. Yeah, I mean,
probably best we don't go through those videos again then, if everyone's going off to bed.
I was going to say, if you want, we can break it down. If you want, we can have a chat a bit later and maybe break it into sections, and then maybe do another stream, maybe during the daytime. Might be better for some people that don't make evenings. Might be able to do a day.
I think that would be good with regards to going through what the Royal Marines said as well, because if we do a follow-up on him,
That's the one I'm
try and find
about.
more information.
Yeah.
I mean, I've found his YouTube channel. I'll send you that in a DM as well. Anything I find on him, I'll send you it. And then we'll sit down and talk about that, as well as go through that video again, if you like.
I think the Royal Marine one definitely has to be done again, but I think we need to break it down, because I think 37 minutes for someone to watch in one go might be a bit much, especially on a live stream.
Yeah.
But I mean, if we discuss sections of it and then break it into sections, and then just because I mean there was points in there where I could have said to you, pause it and we can talk, but we just thought we'd let it play this morning so everyone can get the information. But there was at least 3 or 4 times within that I think we could have stopped it and discussed certain different things that were happening to him. So it could be one.
Yes, I agree.
And then
there was points where I thought, should I pause it or not? I mean, if you'd said to me, Lieutenant, hold it there, then I would have paused it, no bother. So we can do that next time.
I was thinking about it, but everyone was having a good chat in comments. I did do that at one point, which sort of meant pause. You might not have seen it. But yeah, no.
I didn't see you on the screen. I didn't see you on the screen do anything, no, because I was checking what's in the chat and other things and making sure the video is still running okay. Because sometimes when you put things through StreamYard, I think StreamYard can be a bit dodgy. Do you know what I mean? Like when it's high traffic. So sometimes it gets a bit glitchy. So I'm like all over the place trying to make sure it's all running okay, my end at least, Yeah,
I mean, it seemed to look about on YouTube. I've got it on 2 screens. I saw a few glitches on StreamYard, but not on the YouTube stream. So yeah, I think we'll definitely do that, because I mean, I think it does need to be broken down, because there was at least 3 points that we could have discussed, the different things that obviously have happened to him and what he said and the actions that followed afterwards. So yeah, I'm up for doing it again. I say it's an important issue, and what with Starmer signing over our military to the EU, we can always do another one to keep it in everybody's mind. If I can get back early one day during the week or something, maybe do it during the daytime, just to try and hit a different audience. That's what I'm thinking, possibly.
Yeah, that's fine. And obviously, just like when people are sharing it around, don't forget to put in all these different hashtags and everything, because it'll bring it to more people's attention. People often, they go on X and whatnot, and they don't go down their own timeline or anything. They'll just like enter a little hashtag in and see what comes up under that, see what's trending. So always remember to put your hashtags in there.
That's usually what I do, see what's trending. I mean, if it comes up with 5 Arabic things, and there's nothing really that I can pick, but usually there's something, isn't there? You do see a lot of Arabic trending stuff on X. I have done anyway. Article 8. Deborah just put in Article 8, if it still exists, undermining your culture. I have come across Article 8 before. It's something to do with human rights, isn't it? I think it was mentioned a lot with what's been happening with Tommy Robinson, because I think he could have had respirations thanks to Article 8, but they haven't even been able to use it. So again, I think a lot of it's down to, you know, our government, the fact that our Prime Minister was the Attorney General before, and the Attorney General now is one of his own. So there's not much. There isn't much we can do, I think, apart from get these petitions signed and try and raise it in Prime Minister's questions, or write to your MPs. But I mean, a lot of people haven't got the time or the willingness to write, you know, an email or a letter to their MPs. So sometimes just putting your name down on the petition is is an easier option, I think, especially for social media.
There was a great guy called Matt Durham on YouTube. He would come along to the Big Nose of London channel. He was great at holding his MPs to account. And, you know, he's coming from a place of like, he's got his own difficulties. He's quite vulnerable, but he would still put a letter together and, you know, do the whole record and deliveries kind of thing and hold them to account and put emails together, and he would get responses out of them. He wouldn't let anything lie.
Well, I wrote one
so
to mine.
any of us can do it, really, when we put our mind to it.
I did write one to mine about the Northern Ireland Union Agreement, because they want to give away Northern Ireland to the EU as well, and the people of Northern Ireland don't want to leave the UK. They still want to be part of the Union. Most of them, majority. So I tried writing a letter within about I think I had 2 weeks before they were discussing it in Parliament. Didn't get a reply to him until about 3 weeks after they discussed it, the first discussion.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll say again, you can write them, but whether you get a response quick enough sometimes is again another matter.
But you see, when they do that, you need to spread it around that they've done that, so people know not to vote for them again.
Well,
because they're clearly not doing their job, are they?
He didn't get my vote this time, and he's not in.
So, no, but I mean anyone else who did vote for them. That's why you've got to be on it, and you've got to spread it around, certainly in your constituency, because someone obviously voted for it.
Well, let's say again, it goes back to the platforms. I mean, you look at, like I said, about the viewing figures on on X and YouTube, and 60,000, 70,000 compared to 800 is a big difference. And then if you try and go onto Facebook, where a lot of these groups, are with these local people, it's even less. I think, honestly, like it gets out there even less. It's even more diverse. I mean, we all know TikTok's the worst out of them all, but it's hard. That's the thing. And to try and get any important information out there seems to be very hard.
It is, but even if you get it, even if you bring it to the attention of one or two, that's one or two more, and it spreads. It spreads. Yeah, so it's always worth just doing it anyway.
Yeah, so Deborah's got a lot of good information coming in comments. I mean, I'm gonna have to, look up some stuff, because I don't know for sure. I mean, I tried to cover a lot of them, but there's things there that even I didn't know before. So thanks, Deborah, for your input. We'll check that out. I say we'll definitely do a follow-up video on this, and we'll break it down. We'll break down the video, and we'll try and get back to some of these.
They're coming for me. Silence.
I thought that was mine. I was like, shit, what have I said? Do you know what I mean?
It'll be the fire brigade. If it's not the fire brigade, it's the ambulances that go by here often. So, it's quieting down now. So I've unmuted.
Also, I've got the same though, so whenever you hear one when you're on a live, you think to yourself, you know, what have I said? But hopefully nothing goes against
They're going to take me away again. Ha 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 ha.
nothing that goes against the YouTube regulations.
Oh dear me. Honestly, these people in these positions really do need to give themselves a shake, don't they?
Well, we need to give them a shake. I think we've done it with the reform vote. I mean, I think that's kind of why it went the way it did. Was to kind of, yeah, it's kind of, you know, it's kind of a way of, you know, having your voice heard, isn't it? Or the only way at the moment that I suppose anyone could have made a statement, you know, maybe to the government. But yeah, it's going to be interesting the next 3 years leading up to 2029. We'll just have to see where it goes and do our bit. But I think I'm going to bring it to an end now, everybody. I'm getting a bit tired. I don't know about you.
Yeah, well, I've had a nap, so I'm still up. I'm still live streaming my music. I've got a few things I can be getting on with. So, but if you're shattered, then shut it down. I'm fine.
Oh, yeah,
And we'll go over this again.
I'm not too bad. I think I can still get into a chat and some other channels, but yeah, I'm still losing my voice. I haven't gotten over that thing from Manchester fully yet, I don't think. I mean, I feel fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with me, but obviously you can hear it. Going a bit husky.
Maybe just a little bit run down. You've got a lot going on at the minute, haven't you?
Well, yeah, I did have. I've got my hat on now, so that's all good. Good stuff. All right, well, thanks everybody. Thanks, Lieutenant. Yeah, I'll end it down. I'll play the song. I'll end it with the song again, if Deborah wants to hear it.
Thanks for having me, Dave. God bless
thanks
everyone.
Lieutenant, you've been a great addition, and we will do it again. I always forget to thank everybody, so thank you, my moderators, everyone that turned up in the chat. Thank you to the viewers. Thank you to my returning viewers. Please hit the thumbs up if you haven't done so already. And I'll play you out with our beautiful song. And we'll see you next time for part 2. Bye-bye.
First person view, reporting of current affairs. I am One Generation Media, and this is my media. One Gen Media, walking the streets with a yes, yes of the UK, the courage of the UK, pushing my cam to the limits. I'm standing right here in a crowd, or in London town. One Gen Media, walking the streets with a yes, yes. Keeping the faith in a crowded place. Gotta realize, all the MSM realize, no mics in faces. I'm standing right here, ready with questions. Give me your answers. One Generation Media, first generation of true media, needed everywhere with my real life. No one feeding me lies, talking points are nothing for a self-made journal. I'm your YouTube, you know it's pretty sick. Gotta realize, all the MSM realize, bringing you the news that the legacy refuse. One Generation Media, first generation of true media, needed everywhere with my real lies. First person view, reporting of current affairs. I am One Generation Media, and this is my media. One Gen Media, walking the streets with a yes, yes, holding a mic to the voiceless, shining a light on the silencers, keeping our speech free in the UK. I am One Generation Media, and they use us as cogs in a wheel that they can't live without. Imagine if it all stops